There are a small number of people who are born into a gender that they don't identify with, and I will treat them, as I treat all human beings, with dignity and respect.
Will you protect women's right to single-sex spaces from any and all males, regardless of if they hold a GRC, a gender recognition certificate?
Yes is the answer to the question. It's very important, but what I will also...
You're a fucking liar. Keep snorting off Macron's on a fucking train. Don't tell me what to do. Convince me what to do. But you can't convince me. You can't convince me it's real, and you can't convince me a man's a woman, and you can't convince me about all this fucking LGBT bullshit.
You will not believe what just happened. Andrew Tate went off during a heated face-off with Keir Starmer, and the whole room felt the shockwave. Right in the middle of the clash, Tate started firing off bold claims that had people frozen in their seats. He pointed to moments and situations happening across the UK right now, saying things most politicians avoid saying out loud. Cameras were rolling, the tension was thick, and nobody expected it to escalate that fast. This was not just a loud argument on TV. This was chaos, raw energy, and twist after twist that made regular debate shows look staged. Every second felt intense. Blink once, and you might miss the exact line that sets social media on fire.
Me that we should open up our borders and let in a whole bunch of people we don't know. And you can't convince me having our streets run with blood because there's endless knife crime and drugs is somehow a good idea and that London couldn't be fixed. You can't convince me of your idea. So because you can't convince me, you then want to try and force me to believe them with intimidation tactics. And that's why they don't like masculinity, because men are not intimidated. I'm not scared of you and I don't believe you. So unless you convince me...
The internet is already exploding with clips, reactions, and breakdowns. People are replaying the moment again and again, trying to catch every detail. If you're enjoying this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps more than you realize. Now think about this for a second. Have you ever seen someone completely lose their cool in public, but somehow people still back them up? That is the vibe around Andrew Tate right now. He stood there staring straight at Starmer with laser focus, like a man who came ready for battle. No polished script, no political spin, just straight talk delivered at full speed. He laid out what he believes is really happening in the UK step by step, with zero hesitation. Whether you agree or not, you cannot deny the intensity was real. Here's the wild part. Across the country, people are sitting on their sofas quietly backing Andrew Tate, because when he slices through the usual political waffle, it feels like he's saying what they've been thinking for months.
I'm going to oversimplify some things, but I'm going to explain what's going on because you're confused as to why our politicians seem so evil, corrupt, and inept. So let me explain it to you. The people with the money control the politics. Most of you understand that. Politics is simply money. Lobbying, media, all this crap is owned by very, very rich people, and they basically decide who gets to be.
While Keir Starmer keeps talking about leadership and renewal, a lot of viewers feel like everyday life in the UK is getting harder, more confusing, and way less stable than promised. That contrast hits hard. Tate does not sugarcoat it. He calls things out with a blunt edge that lands heavy. It is not polished, it is not diplomatic, but it is direct. And for many watching, that direct tone feels refreshing. Instead of long speeches packed with safe phrases, he zooms in on the red tape, the complicated rules, the double standards people complain about, and the big promises that never seem to turn into action.
This time, understood they could make more money if they improve the lives and improve the quality of Western society. By improving Europe, improving America, improving the standard of living for the constituents of these countries, they could make more money. But like all things, the pendulum swings. And it got to the point where people got a little bit lazy. They wanted health care. They wanted to only work certain hours. They wanted good living conditions. And one day, the rich people woke up and realized, wait, we can make more money now by destroying Western civilization. We don't make more money by making it better because the people in the West now are very decadent. And they've started to pay a lot of attention. And they start to do these investigations. And they've started to notice how corrupt everything is.
What really shocks people is not just what he says, but that he is willing to say it out loud on a major platform. He is not the type to sit quietly and calmly break down policy documents. He is loud, expressive, hands moving, voice rising, pushing his point like he refuses to be ignored. And somehow it connects. Viewers are not laughing him off. They are leaning in. He storms through Starmer's agenda piece by piece, questioning healthcare plans, tax strategies, energy policies, driving regulations, and more. Big slogans get challenged, talking points get tested, nothing is left untouched. Plain common sense suddenly sounds revolutionary. When Andrew Tate says certain things out loud, you can almost hear viewers thinking, why has no one just said this before? His posts online do not read like casual updates. They feel more like urgent broadcasts, bold statements fired straight into the timeline with zero hesitation. And the way he delivers it, that is half the power. He does not pause to slowly build tension. He walks in as the tension. It is raw, unpredictable, and clearly not rehearsed. While Keir Starmer keeps a calm, measured, policy-focused tone, Tate brings an energy that feels like an earthquake shaking the room. One side is controlled and careful. The other side is loud, fast, and impossible to tune out. The crowd feels that contrast. They are not just sitting back half asleep, they are locked in. While parts of UK media package issues with soft headlines and safe language, Tate is out there raising his voice, pointing fingers, and demanding accountability like it is a public challenge.
I'm prepared to sit here and debate with him, and I'm prepared to correct him on the things he's wrong about. And for you to sit and then you support a genocide, you're going to say I'm a bad person for saying that little girls shouldn't get stabbed by people who don't belong in the UK in the first place. I don't care if you're a Muslim, I don't care if you're a Christian, black or white.
Okay.
Nobody should be turning up into the country without a passport.
I'm going to
Absolutely
respond.
Nobody.
I'm going to respond by saying this. I believe the successive Labour and Conservative governments have completely lost control of immigration to our country, both legal and illegal.
Every line carries emotion and a touch of performance. He paces, he gestures, he throws in an eye roll that basically says, "You cannot be serious," and people watching from home eat it up. It feels real to them, like someone finally cut through the polished talking points with blunt honesty. It may sound harsh, it may even feel a little rude, but it is direct, and that is exactly why so many cannot look away. Here's the striking part. People are not just laughing at Andrew Tate, they actually relate to what he is saying. For years, many in the UK have quietly complained about confusing laws, leadership they see as weak, rising energy bills, and promises that never seem to land.
European countries, you could argue that America was founded multiracially. You could argue that. The British people are a type of people. They're an ethnicity. They're a type of people from one place and one part of the earth. And once they lose it, they have nowhere else to go. That's all they have. And they're being replaced in real time. And their leader, Keir Starmer, is letting it happen. And if you talk about it, you go to jail. All of this is happening right now. And unless the men do something and replace him with somebody who cares, they're going to be replaced.
Tate does not just repeat those frustrations. He turns the volume all the way up and makes it impossible to ignore. Every time Keir Starmer tries to step in with a calm reply, Tate jumps ahead, flipping the script and pushing the pressure even higher. He moves fast, swatting away excuses, calling out vague answers, and pointing at contradictions with sharp focus. Some viewers have joked that if this was not so gripping to watch, Starmer would look like someone walking into a serious clash completely underprepared. Tate comes across as relentless, bold, and fearless, saying things that many feel have been stuck in their heads for years but never said on a big stage. You can see the reaction building, heads nodding, clips getting shared, messages flying between friends with the same comment. Finally, someone is saying it out loud. The energy spreads quickly online and offline. It turns into a moment people feel part of, not just something they watch from a distance. Then he jumps straight into the heavy topics. Energy policy, the struggling healthcare system, rising crime, the traffic chaos politicians promise to fix again and again. Suddenly, it feels like someone is holding up a mirror to the UK, but this mirror is loud, blunt, and not interested in being polite. It is loud, animated, full of raised eyebrows and sharp hand movements, meant to drive the message home. Andrew Tate does not just talk. He leans in, locks eyes, and delivers every sentence like it is a direct challenge. Every pause feels planned. Every sigh sounds like part of a bigger statement. It comes across like a live manifesto unfolding in real time. He does not simply speak. He performs, and people cannot look away. He paints pictures people instantly recognize. Tired workers stretched thin. Families stressed over bills. Citizens frustrated by rules that feel endless and confusing. Officials drowning in paperwork. Watching from home, many are thinking the same thing. Finally, someone said it out loud.
But if I said to you, I have to make a bet. I have to bet billions of dollars on the UK getting better or the UK getting worse. Well, if I bet on it getting better, I now have a whole bunch of work to do. I have to make it a better place. Do you have any idea how difficult that is? But if I bet on it becoming a worse place, well, that's easy. Very easy to make it worse. You just leave it as it is. And bore a bunch of people who don't really like the place. Stoke civil tensions with the media, make the prices of everything go up a little bit so people are angry and poor.
Then, when he shifts to taxes and energy bills, the whole tone changes. The pace quickens, the edge sharpens, the energy jumps to another level. It stops feeling like a calm policy discussion and starts looking like pure theatre, bold, dramatic, confrontational. It feels less like commentary and more like a wake-up call that refuses to lower its voice. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer sticks to his familiar style, speaking about fairness and long-term plans in a steady, measured tone. Tate's reaction: open disbelief, like he cannot accept what he is hearing. He tears into the logic, exaggerates the situation for effect, and turns what could have been a dry exchange into a full performance packed with intensity and humour. Instead of dividing the room, he makes it feel like he is voicing a shared frustration. He keeps it straight, direct, and impossible to ignore. He calls out what he sees as failures and refuses to back down. In a political space where caution usually rules the day, that level of boldness feels almost radical. Andrew Tate even starts breaking down the systems designed to keep the public informed, arguing that they are tangled, confusing, and far from transparent. And the crowd reacts fast. For many watching, it sounds like thoughts they have had for years, now being blasted through a microphone with energy no one else brought to the stage.
Where a lot of the culture is being eroded, and it's being eroded by an Islamic immigration. And this is going to make Muslims mad when I say it, but I understand why the native Brits feel threatened by that and are unhappy with that. When you talk about crime statistics, it's difficult because you can do the same thing with black people in the United States. But black people are a part of the United States. It's seen as racist to say that there are a lower percentage of the population, but they commit more of the crime. But you can do the same with black people in the United States. But black people live here, and they're always going to live here. I like to be ultra realistic about all things. And I like the idea of Britain retaining its culture and feeling like England. A lot of the stabbing that happens in the UK isn't from Muslims particularly. It's actually from Christians from Africa. A lot of it's third worlders. A lot of it's black youths inside of London who do most of the stabbing, the majority of it.
Then he pivots into cultural commentary, sharp and witty, sometimes uncomfortably accurate. He questions trends he finds absurd. He criticizes government schemes he believes are poorly planned. He points at rules that make everyday people sigh and say, "You have got to be kidding." The tone is not about personal attacks. It is blunt and straightforward, aimed at systems that feel like they turn normal life into a maze. Heads nod. Laughter breaks out. There is that shared feeling of relief, like people are realizing they are not alone in their frustration. Within minutes, social media lights up. Clips spread, memes appear, debates explode in comment sections. Tate flips the script, framing everyday citizens as the main characters instead of background noise. After years of slow progress and long speeches, many viewers say they want action and honesty, and in this moment, he delivers it loud, direct, and unapologetically real. And this is where it gets even more intense. Andrew Tate does not slow down. If anything, he doubles the pressure. He starts connecting the dots between policy promises and everyday struggles, laying it out like a puzzle that suddenly makes sense. Rising costs, confusing regulations, leaders saying one thing and doing another. He stacks each point on top of the last until the picture feels hard to ignore. Across the stage, Keir Starmer keeps his steady posture, sticking to prepared arguments and long-term strategies. But Tate keeps interrupting the rhythm, throwing sharp questions and demanding straight answers. No complicated wording, no polished spin, just direct challenges that hang in the air and force a reaction. The audience can feel the clash of styles, calm versus confrontational, measured versus explosive, and instead of tuning out, people lean in closer. Group chats start buzzing, comment sections move at lightning speed. Viewers replay certain lines because they cannot believe someone actually said that on live TV. By this point, it does not feel like a standard political exchange anymore. It feels like a moment people will reference for weeks. Whether they agree with him or not, they cannot deny the impact. The tension, the confidence, the refusal to soften the message, it all builds into something bigger than a debate. It feels like a statement, loud and clear, that the old way of doing things is being challenged right in front of everyone. And just when you think it cannot escalate any further, it does.
His face. That's the face of evil. Keir, when you lock me up in Belmarsh, which I know you're going to do, that's fine. That is the face of evil, sir. Look at that. That is incompetence incarnate. Look, that's not a leader. England was the greatest country in the world. I watched. It brought tears to my eyes. I watched the Battle of Cairo. I watched Nelson fight the French fleet. A YouTube video. At the Battle of Cairo, I even tweeted it in full. The heroism showed by the Brits only 200 years ago. These were the best men on the planet. Tiny island with the largest...
Andrew Tate leans forward and shifts the tone again, almost like he knows the exact moment to raise the stakes. He starts questioning the bigger picture, not just policies, but the direction of the country itself. Identity, standards, accountability. He frames it like a crossroads moment, and suddenly, the debate feels bigger than two men on a stage. Across from him, Keir Starmer stays composed, trying to anchor the conversation back to structure and detail. But Tate keeps steering it toward raw emotion and lived experience. He speaks about people feeling unheard, overlooked, brushed aside. His voice rises, his hands move faster, and every sentence sounds like it carries weight. Online, the reaction is instant. Clips start circulating before the segment even ends. Supporters call it fearless. Critics call it dramatic. Either way, nobody is ignoring it. The moment spreads beyond the studio and into living rooms, group chats, and trending pages. It feels less like a political event and more like a cultural flashpoint. By now, the atmosphere is electric. The contrast in style is crystal clear. One side offering steady reassurance, the other demanding change right now. And whether viewers are cheering or shaking their heads, they are watching closely because something about this clash feels different. It feels like a line has been drawn, bold and impossible to miss. Now this is where the temperature really spikes. Andrew Tate stops playing defense and goes fully on offense. He starts firing rapid questions, stacking them one after another, barely giving the moment time to breathe.
All the leaders of Western countries have failed. They're enforcing a generational failure upon their constituents. Donald Trump is the future of the Western world. Everybody knows it, and everybody needs to get in line and obey him. Donald Trump is going to annex Greenland and take Canada and take Mexico, take all of it. The American empire is back. We're done with this crap. Elon owns X. I get to tell the truth. All of your lies are being exposed, and I cannot wait for the disinfectant of sunlight to come down and exonerate my brother and I, because we have done nothing wrong since the beginning of this. The chance of me becoming UK Prime Minister within the next 10 years is somewhere near 100%, because I'm one of the most well-known people on the planet who can self-fund, and everybody understands, even if you don't like me.
Each point feels sharper than the last. He challenges the timelines, the promises, the so-called progress. You can almost feel the tension stretching across the room. Keir Starmer tries to pull it back to structure, outlining plans and long-term strategies in that steady, measured tone. But Tate keeps pressing, like he refuses to let the conversation drift into safe territory. He leans into the frustration many viewers feel, highlighting delays, rising costs, and everyday struggles people talk about at the dinner table. It is relentless and high energy. The audience reaction shifts again. Some faces look stunned, others are nodding hard. Phones are out. Clips are already being shared before the segment even wraps. It feels less like a debate and more like a showdown of two completely different visions. Calm planning versus urgent confrontation, careful messaging versus blunt force delivery. By this point, it is not just about policies anymore. It is about trust. It is about who people believe is actually hearing them. And whether you agree with him or not, Tate has forced the room and the country watching to pay attention in a big way. In the final stretch, Keir Starmer tries to step in and calmly clarify his position. But Andrew Tate is already 3 moves ahead. Before an explanation can even settle, Tate flips it into a sharp punchline. Truth and sarcasm collide in real time, and the whole country feels locked into the moment. Viewers are not just watching anymore. They look energized, like someone finally said out loud what they have been thinking for years. Tate is not trying to be polished or politically careful. He delivers every line with humor, exaggeration, and pointed observations that land close to home.
But I spent my teenage years in the UK. I feel very British. The British were the hardest, strongest, most resilient people on the planet. When the British were coming, only the Americans seemed to have beat them. You were scared when the British were coming. Sailed all around the world. Opioid wars in China, Battle of Cairo, Waterloo, you name it. We beat Napoleon. We did, the Brits. And now look, soy face is locking us up for having an opinion. And we're sitting there on our asses, afraid to say anything. This exact clip will be played in front of a judge when they lock me up. But it has to be said, because that is not the leader.
He questions the wording, highlights gaps in the arguments, and turns smooth talking points into slogans that suddenly sound hollow. The more he presses, the more intense the atmosphere becomes. It feels like a clash of styles that could not be more different. By the end, Starmer's carefully managed image looks shaken, while online timelines explode with clips, reactions, and heated debates. Group chats light up, comment sections move fast, the same message keeps popping up again and again. Finally, someone is saying exactly what we have been feeling. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Share this with someone who needs to see it, and stay tuned for the next deep dive. See you in the next video.